This video is supported by Profit Accumulator. Profit Accumulator helps you to earn extra money by doing something called match betting. Match betting isn't gambling. And when you do it properly, and I mean properly, you can't lose. So get involved right now. Click the link in the description and sign up to Profit Accumulator right now.
Good afternoon, evening, good morning from wherever you're watching from. It's myself, Cecil Jee. Got James B in the wings waiting. It's the pre-match build-up show, and we'll be looking ahead for the Brighton game today. Kickoff is at 6, I believe. Yeah, 6 o'clock. And before we start, you know me, go through the comments, see what I want, see what you lot are saying. Ping up some right now. Got one from Norman saying, please say hi to me. Today is my birthday. Norman H, big up you, bro. Happy birthday. And yeah, hopefully we get a win. A lot of people in the comments say, Mope, you're a cheat. Hope Brighton get relegated. Classic moment from Ty. Absolute classic moment from Ty. Hopefully we don't see that again. And hopefully, I'm not going to wish that upon anyone. Big love, Alcarp as well, always a regular. Yo, Cecil. James is coming in as well, guys. I know you guys say it. Big up Cecil, big up James, big up yourselves, James B. Love. Cool. So before we start, also today, right? I want to do something. There is a watch along tonight as well. Sorry, I'm just flipping between things. MG, there is a watch along tonight. Let's ask some questions before we start. DJ C, how come you're not at the studio? COVID. Many of the studio have got caught at the moment, contracted it, so we are currently isolating. Same with me. James is also isolating as well. I'll add him in a second. But before we get into the show today, right at the end of the show, I'm going to ask you guys a question. We've got quite a few little activities today, but I'm going to ask a question right at the end. What do you want to get rid of? One thing you want to bin from Arsenal that you've seen up to this season? And that sounds, it's quite a big, broad question, but you just have to pick one thing. So it might be people saying we have creative issues. Like, I want to know, what is the one thing you guys want to bin? Everyone always says we have creative issues. That annoys me. I probably want to get rid of that while we're going forward. That might mean we get a signing in January. But just one little thing that you want to bin. I think I've heard a lot of radio stations do it. What do you want to bin this year going forward for Arsenal? I'm going to move on to introduce my friend James B, and we'll get back to that question at the end of this show. Do you know what? While we're at home, yeah, I just have to use it. Until if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Until Robbie throws out the window.
Yeah, Robbie will probably go mad one day and be like, please just get rid of it. But until he buys me, I'm telling you, I'm just going to keep using it until he just buys me a new one. He says, all right, cool. You know what? I'm going to get you a new one. So that happens.
Oh, love it. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm going to be honest. It's weird being at home. I do feel a bit more relaxed, I'm going to be honest, I feel a bit more tired because it's just being at home. I think it just brings me on. Yeah. Relaxed vibe.
The fact we can't go out, we can't get fresh air, we can't. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I keep. It sounds silly, but I keep awake by exercising, by sort of being out and about. Like, I love coming to the studio, to the office. It's great. So, we all got to do our bit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, if people are getting in their things now, honestly, being Ozil splitting our fan base and team. That's what. Oh, you know what? Eng Hang Hao, I was going to do this at the end of the show. We're going to do it at the end of the show, but that's one thing that is probably top of the list, actually. Yeah, been the whole Ozil discussions. Right, cool. Let's get into today's schedule for the pre-match build-up show. We've got quite a lot to talk about. I know, James, you want to start with just first week we go back and look back at the game we played against Chelsea and see. Well, we can just have a little discussion about it. Obviously, we did a little bit of a review of the game, but we can have a little touch on what was good and positives and what we want to see.
It's a shame. Normally, it'd be me and you here together. We'd be bringing up the analysis. We'd have the tactical pad in front of us. But here we go. Here were the lineups from the two games. Obviously, the big surprise was that incredibly youthful trio we had behind Lacazette. I want to highlight actually 3 areas. I'll bring them up here now. 3 areas I want to look at. So the first was that trio that I just mentioned: Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka. I think Smith Rowe's 20, the other two are 19. I mean, so impressive the way the three of them performed. Not just showing their youthfulness, their energy, their flair, but also their maturity, where they were getting the ball, how they were helping their fullbacks to defend as well. You then had the fullbacks, they were key in Tierney and Bellerin, getting right up the pitch. That was their movement, sort of from back to front. I mean, that whole left and right-hand side was completely dominated by them two. Thought they were excellent. And then you had a pretty disciplined sort of, what would you call that? Foursome in the middle of Mari, Xhaka, Holding, and El Neni, in which Xhaka maybe more than the other three, never really got forward too much, did they? They were very disciplined. They held their position. I know two of them were centre-backs, but Xhaka wasn't really bombing on either. El Neni sometimes slotted in to make it a back three if he needed to. And I thought there was a nice balance to our team. Remember the other day we were talking about balance. When things go wrong, that's the starting place, isn't it?
Well, the balance when we have no balance, we are terrible. We're a mess. When players just don't turn up, especially the midfield. I feel like that's why we look at sections of the game in our game, and I feel like the midfield, when we lose out in there, we lose the game, and I guess it all falls down, like you said there, the balance of the team. I know you're hot on that as well, James.
Yeah, massively. And I thought what was interesting was the positions they were taking up, which I'll show them here. So what I'm showing here is the passing lanes in yellow that Xhaka had. Now, obviously, this is kind of a recreation of many moments that happened throughout the game. God, I wish we could have the tactical pad so we could be like moving them along and watching it all. We have our fun with that, Cecil. But I felt what was interesting was Smith Rowe and Martinelli looked like they were picking up the ball between Zuma and James most of the time, and then Lacazette and Saka were picking up between Thiago Silva and Chilwell. But that blue area I've highlighted there, we were getting into that. We were not just getting into it with personnel, but we were playing passes into those spaces, which I think made it very difficult for the Chelsea back four, but also for their midfield three to know who to pick up, especially because they're a team who like to press. Xhaka had a lot of room, and Tierney and Bellerin were obviously providing that overlap. But what you basically got, was a situation like this. Now, what I've demonstrated, let me just go back actually. What I've demonstrated here is when we had the ball. When we had the ball, we were trying to penetrate in the final third. But I also want to illustrate, obviously Chelsea had a lot of the ball. They completed more passes. They had more possessions. There are a lot of times where I wouldn't say we were counter-attacking, but we were nicking the ball in midfield and we were sort of immediately going at their defence or back line. And this is a good example of it here, where I've basically illustrated their midfield being quite high up. Xhaka wins the ball, and Smith Rowe always picked it up in that area there, as I've highlighted him in purple. Again, the passing lanes to Xhaka. And then this would always sort of develop into something a bit more like this, where Smith Rowe then had the ball. And what I've seen, the dotted line is the movement of the runners, and then the straight line is the movement of the ball. Do you remember, Cecil, how many times Smith Rowe got the ball, rolled it into Saka? Smith Rowe got the ball, rolled into Martinelli, and you had that overlap from Tierney.
Really, yeah.
The feature of our game. And Tierney's overlap was where the penalty came from. But a lot of the time, when we did recycle possession and suddenly we were going back at them, it was that Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Tierney combination, which then led to something like this. It basically led to Tierney basically one-on-one with James, who was so tucked in, worried about Martinelli's run. And then, boom, we were through on goal. I mean, it's something we've wanted to see a lot more of recently, isn't it?
Definitely. Now, Smith Rowe finds the pockets. Amen to that.
He really does.
Absolutely. Do you know what I want to say on that as well, James? What I really want to highlight as well, guys, when I've been watching Arsenal, the senior players, so the likes of Pepe's, the Willians, the Sabasis, it's all well and good them getting forward, but they don't really go and break those areas. I don't know if I can pull it back up. Break the areas that James was highlighting here. So if we look here, that blue section, the players like the Pepe's, the Willians, the Sabasis, they weren't fearless enough to actually really attempt to break through the opposition's defenses. But you see the young players, like we have the Smith Rowes, the Martinez, they were fearless to get in and beyond the strikers, break those lines. And that's the difference. That's literally the difference in the play and what we saw at Chelsea. They were not scared to break those lines. And Lacazette can also benefit off that by integrating them in, same with Xhaka making the passes forward. And it doesn't waste the fullback's run. So when I like Kieran Tierney and, who's our fullback on the day? I'm having a nightmare here. Bellerin, sorry, mine just slipped there. Bellerin and Tierney, when they get on, it doesn't waste it when we're in attack, because the youngster's already broken forward. It gives them more opportunity for them to receive the ball, and that's what we need to see more of today. Something I really am hoping to see to continue this forward.
And I completely agree with you. And what's fascinating, let me see if I can find the graphic that illustrates it best. It's probably this one here. What's fascinating about it is Werner and Pulisic clearly didn't fancy doing that much tracking back, really. I rarely saw them tracking the runs of Tierney and Bellerin. And what's so fascinating is normally when Pepe or Aubameyang or Willian pick up the ball out wide, and they're really wide, they're really hugging that touchline. The thing I find really interesting about it is we complain about Bellerin, and I've complained about Bellerin. I've complained about our fullbacks.
That's probably why.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we complain about them not overlapping and being an option. Well, the reality is that if they overlap and do get the ball, the fullback's already there. Your Chilwell, your Reece James, they're already there to defend you. So actually, you don't have as much space to attack. And the beauty of what we did by having a very narrow four of Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Lacazette, as you can see there, what was really interesting was that when Bellerin and Tierney did get the ball, they had time to carry it a little bit, get their head up, and pick out a decent cross. And the best graphic I can have to illustrate not just that, but also to give you a perspective of what Xhaka had in this game that he didn't have in the last is this one here. I mean, I've tried to just give you a different perspective, and I know it's hard to put yourself in that position on the pitch, but you can see what I'm trying to recreate.
Yeah. You have many options there, James. Looking forward there, a lot more options to pass forward, which we've been screaming for Xhaka to do. Please just give us the play forward, stop playing back. But he has the options there, and he actually utilised them, which actually made for him to have a good game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, well, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, that was it. Go on, Karen.
No, I completely agree. And we said it in our review show, but it's worth pointing out. Xhaka had a great game. His first, I'd say, really good game for a good few months. And actually what I enjoyed about his performance was that he wasn't dropping into left back and playing safe passes. He wasn't dropping into centre back. He wasn't playing as the deeper of the midfielders. He was, as you can see from this graphic here, much more advanced than El Neni. And he used it, and he has a great foot. His left foot, no matter what people say about Xhaka as a player, I don't think anyone disagrees about Xhaka's ability to ping a ball and find a pass. And what he was allowed to do there was pick those passes because there's more options. So by having it sounds like a minor thing. You put in a number 10 and suddenly you got more options. Well, yeah, Smith Rowe getting into spaces makes a difference. But it's not just that. If Martinelli comes inside, the space he's got, like the gap he's got to target when he's looking to get Bellerin or Tierney in behind, it's so much bigger. There's so much more space for him. There's less room for error. He can basically say, there's a big old gap here. I want to pop it in there, and Tierney's probably going to get there because Martinelli and Smith Rowe have drawn everyone else closer in field anyway. So the formation absolutely got the best out of Xhaka. And you could just see we look so much more fluid in attack. And I hope we're going to talk later about changes that we think we might see or want to see, because obviously the team needs to be rotated. But I hope whatever we get, that 4 is exactly the same in the way they operate. We have a proper 10, we have a striker who drops deep, and we have 2 wingers who are coming inside on their favoured feet and are able to link up the play and give Bellerin and Tierney the energy and access they need on the wing. Just a little thing to add.
And I just want to, I know we've spoken loads about Xhaka, but I'm going to add a lot. Yeah. I said the stat previously, but I'm just going to remind everyone about it. It is of Arsenal players to score at least 5 Premier League goals, Xhaka has scored the highest ratio from outside the box. He scored 78% of his goals have been from outside the box. He scored 7 in 9 from outside the box. Now, I know it's not a nothing stat. The reason why I'm saying this is because when we have the youngsters playing and they're breaking these lines and they're pressing high, they're also creating loads of space for Xhaka to step into. And I know he scored a free kick, but he can step in and let off that long shot. This is where you would likely see more of his long shot goals, is when the youngsters are pressing forward and the defence are pinned back and he picks up and can let off these shots. So hopefully, again, as much as I've been critical of Xhaka, I'll throw my hands up and say that, hopefully we see more of that again today. Just got to be honest.
I completely agree, but it was a great win. It was, do you know what? It's been good fun analyse it yesterday morning and now here on the build-up show. Shame we don't have Graham for some proper tactical insight. That's a real shame. Yeah. And also that we just don't have the TV and the tactical pad and everything, because I think we'd really enjoy this. But hopefully we've done it some sort of justice with these graphics.
Definitely. Shall we look up approaching the Brighton game? Shall we look at how we should approach it? How you guys think we should approach it? Who would you like to see as well? And James, I don't know if you've got some graphics there for us.
Yeah, less graphics, more stats. But here's a nice picture of
the Welts.
Mope and just to remind us of what we're coming up against. I tell you what, they're a funny old team, Brighton, because you don't really know. Do they play a back three? Do they play a back four? Do they're quite fluid in the way they play, which I quite enjoy. I've got a few stats here that I thought was really interesting. My trusty notebook here. Brighton have faced 129 shots this season, which is the third lowest. So in terms of shot face, they're doing really, really well. They don't concede many, many chances. Knowing that, they've never won when they've conceded the first goal. And they also tend to score most of their goals in the final 15 minutes. So you're probably wondering, what on earth does any of those three stats have to do with one another, or what have I taken from all that? Let me read them one more time.
Yeah, go on.
Their shots faced, 129. That's the third lowest in the league, as in third best.
Okay.
They've never won when conceding the first goal. Don't think we have either.
Yeah, we
Also worth noting.
Yeah.
And they also score most of their goals in the final 15 minutes. I mean, I think something like 6 of their Premier League goals have come in the final 15 minutes. Now,
that as well.
Yeah.
That as well.
So my takeaway from that is go all out. Go for them. Because they don't outscore their XG. What I mean by that is they should be scoring way more goals. Mopé's not really been at it recently. Welbeck, we know, can be erratic in front of goal. By the way, I'll bet they'll both turn up tonight. But I've got to speak on the facts and what they've been like recently. They play really good football and they take the game to teams, a bit like Chelsea would have done at the Emirates. So I don't really see any reason to change our tactics in this game. I think we play the same narrow four. We get our fullbacks right up the pitch and we take the game to them in the hope that, you know what? Yes, they have a lot of the ball and they like to attack teams, but they can be quite blunt in attack. They don't always score or create many great chances, really, although they are a good team. And hopefully we'll catch them flat-footed and we can try, touch wood. I mean, I'm saying all this like Arsenal have done it regularly when they haven't, but hopefully try and kill the game off before they really come alive in the second half. Albeit it was the West Ham game where they played really well in the first half and worse in the second. So they're a funny team to analyse. You know, you don't really know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, they're odd, but I just have to agree with you on that. I just think we need to score early and score first, definitely, because that's a stat that we hate as well. If a team scores against us first, it's a long slog for us to make it back. But scoring early is always a positive to our game where we normally win when we score first. And so we need to do what happened against Chelsea. I was quite confident when we went 2-0 up against Chelsea. I was singing, obviously, take your time with it. People tell me sharp. But I was confident that once we get ahead, we normally are right holding a lead. So there's the stats prove this season. So hopefully we can do that early on and get that sorted. I just want to quickly just pop up this super chat here. Very in 1987. Hope Arteta trusted you today. I really hope so too. They were dynamic and played with passion, something we are lacking. Trust the process. Best wishes to Rob and DT. Thank you very much. Yeah, very true. Very true. I think the guys are recovering, just so everyone knows. DT, Robbie, they are recovering well. They are obviously in quarantine, but they are. I've spoken to them today. They seem fine. James, you're right. We need to get on the front foot. Exactly that. As soon as the whistle blows, 100%. But does that come from the youngsters, or like when I say this in respect of I've seen the experienced players play without the youngsters playing, and they just start slow, and we're screaming at the TV. But when we watched them against Chelsea, they started fast. So I don't know if that's whether. Well, I think the youngsters should keep their shirts, but they need to be involved there. They need to kind of set the pace. I think the youngsters really did set the pace for the whole team. I think like an active game because they saw the youngsters run around and thought, you know what, boy, I better step up because these lot are showing me how it needs to be done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think they injected a degree of energy. I do think they helped us start fast. I think even if Chelsea were looking to start fast and come at us, what was interesting was that we had the dynamism, the energy, the enthusiasm to go the other way. Now, I was gonna say something which comes from somebody else. So I heard it on the Askcast Extra podcast.
Is it Partey?
What?
Is it Partey?
No.
Oh, damn. I really want Barty to be involved today. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard yet. I've been trying to look.
It won't be.
He's been training, but I don't think he's going to be part of it. But I really just want to get a surprise. Anyway, go on. What was he going to say?
No, they made a really good point, but I think Gunnar Blog said he got it from somewhere else. Anyway, big fan of those two. They said something about youngsters and how when was he quoting? They were quoting Roberto Martinez. Yeah, that was it. The former Everton and current I think he's current Belgian manager. And they were saying he said something like youngsters play with a degree of freedom because they've not been like hurt yet. They've not been hurt on a pitch. They've never tried to be brave in seeing it go against them or try things and see it go badly. You know, because well, for many reasons, really. But it was a really interesting point. And I do think one thing this team absolutely needed an injection of is like bravery and like intent and courage. Like when things are going badly, you need your players to step up and try and make something happen. And the kids absolutely did that. I really hope we see. I expect one of Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Saka to be rested. I'd be disappointed if we saw both. If we saw 2 of 3, I'd be really disappointed if I saw all 3 rested. But I think 2 of the 3 need to start. Just to keep consistency.
What if he brings, guys? I'm asking you guys as well. What happens if he rests all 3 but brings in like Eddie Nketiah, Niles, Willock? No, not feeling it. Not the same.
No, because you know what he could do. What he could realistically do is bring in Pepe on the right, Willock in the 10, Aubameyang on the left. But you've completely replaced what worked so well with complete pretenders in that role. I'm not saying they're not good players, but Pepe's a runner. Pepe likes to not necessarily much get in behind, but he likes to attack space and use his drive. Aubameyang likes to get in behind, and Willock likes to make runs from deep into the box. Comes short sometimes, but he doesn't do it as well as Smith Rowe. So I think if he were to rotate like that, for example, I think it'd be a complete disaster. Seriously, I mean, a lot of my expectation on this game hinges on the 11. You know, if Pepe and Aubameyang come back into the wings, I can't believe I'm saying a year on, I'd have been saying Pepe and Aubameyang are the answer. But a year on, you go, no, that is not the balance. That's not what we need in this team. So, good question, but I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, nor would I. Okay, right. Let's pop up the next. Let's pick up the next couple games so we can get a breakdown of what you guys. How many points do you expect Arsenal to get from the next couple of games? Now, James is going to pop up. Actually, I can pop up the graphic.
And I just want to intro this as well by saying we're not getting ahead of ourselves in saying, right, we're going to win them all now. You know, our form's turned around. We remember what happened against Man United. But what's important, the reason this is important to mention before people start going, we've only won 1 game. You think you get, I know, and I know this club's got lots of problems, but it's important to mention this because we don't have an easier run than this for the rest of the season. The rest is littered with a favourable game, a difficult away game. And I mean, I was looking at December and January as the best 2 months of the season for us. And December's been an absolute shocker. So January's got to be near perfect. So anyway, we can bring them up now. But I just wanted to bring up why this is so important to look at. Here we go. I mean, Arteta looking at them fixtures just like I am, just with stress.
Like, how many points? Okay, people, read. So on the screen now, so we've got the next 6 games. Please just have a little read of what's on the screen. I want to get you guys involved as well. How many points realistically do you think we should be taking from these teams that we've got coming up next? I have to check. I did the next 4, so I didn't do 6. Let me just add on to the last 2. Bear with me.
Well, while you're adding that up, I just want to let people in on something. I don't know if they've heard me say it in the past. I think I kept it sort of between us, but I internally in my mind, I set a points tally for Arteta, where I basically said that of the next 10 games, that was at the beginning. So this was after the North London derby. So we lost to Tottenham, and we had Burnley at home next, followed by Southampton, Everton, and Chelsea. I said I wanted 20 points out of the next 30. 30 takes us to that Man United. Is that Man United? Yeah, that Man United home game.
Yep.
Last game of January. In fact, there might be one more. There might be Wolves. I think, if I've done my maths correctly, if he's to reach that 20 out of 30, which would leave us on 33 points, which I don't think is bad after the end of Jan. Well, not bad for where we were. He needs to win 5 and draw 1 of those 6. And that ain't looking likely. I'm telling you. I'm not confident in winning 5 and drawing 1 of those 6.
Yeah, I said 14, but I mean that's asking a lot. I know that's asking a lot, but I don't, no, it's not actually. 14's not. I say the win against Brighton 3, West Brom win, that's 6. Crystal Palace, I said a draw 7. That's which we should really be winning, but I'm gonna say a draw, that's 7. Newcastle win, that's 10. Beat Southampton, it's big arts, but yeah, beat Southampton, that's 13. Then potentially a draw against United. I expect us to be unbeaten. I mean, that is optimistic. Wow. Definitely, we might drop. We may maybe 13, maybe 13. We should.
The thing is,
it's so hard, isn't it? It's so hard.
And also, context is everything, right? Because for me, we've been so bad in December to the point where I actually said I lost faith in the manager. I'm not sure he's the right man to lead us forward anymore.
Yeah.
But if he, after what happened against Chelsea, if he's now stumbled across a formation and a balance that works, and we start winning, so if we get those 6 up, so we've beaten Chelsea, let's say we win 3 and draw 2 of those games, right? That's not great. It's not brilliant, but it's better. It's an upturn in form. It's not losing many matches. And we don't hit that points target I initially wanted. And we get a good number 10 in January, maybe another player. Then I have to say that things are looking up. Things are improving.
Yeah, Man United is on the 30th of the 1st. It's the 30th of January. Right, so, so by that time, we would probably have maybe some, no, and Arsenal will probably get freaking signed on the last day. But we may have a new player in then. So that could add to it. I don't think it's too much to ask for. I saw some people saying 0 points, 15 points, 15, 13. Yeah, like you said, this is probably the best run we can go on. But I did say that in December as well. But it's a good run that we can go on. Hopefully, be unbeaten in the next couple of games. It really will save Arteta as well.
Yeah, I think Tom Guna here sums up brilliantly. 10 is just about acceptable, so that'd be 3 wins and a draw from those 6. 13 to 14 is expected. Agreed. That's what you went for, Cecil. So that's the expected amount.
Yeah.
Any more than 15, which would mean 5 wins, 5 wins draw, or 6 wins, is very, very good. I think Tom has summed it up. Thanks, Tom, for your comment. I think that is. Someone's just also made a point. No point. I said in the comment section. No point counting points, like we're trying to do here. The thing I say about that is, when you know that this is your best run, and you know how bad things have been, and then you know what's coming up, I think you kind of got to count points. You've got to start thinking, well, where can we just start to claw ourselves away from trouble and back more among the realm of teams we want to be around before things get really tricky again? We are not going to do well in these more difficult games if we don't find form from somewhere. That's why this run of games is so crucial.
Facts. All right, James, next activity for them. For us, even, we went through this today. Our 11s, but making 4 changes. Or did you want to look at the Premier League table first?
Actually, just before we do that, because just before we do that, let's have a little look at the Premier League table. I'll bring it up here. So I'm looking at that, and I know we just talked about the run of games. We're on 17 points. I always think anyone, especially at this stage of the season, anyone within 9 points of you is catchable, especially at this stage of the season.
Yeah, let me see. Where's that? Who's 9 points ahead of us?
9 points. We're looking at Villa, Chelsea, Tottenham, City.
Yeah, top 6.
I don't think we'll catch them personally. But this season, I think top 4 is out the window. It's about finding form. It's about getting to a point where we could just string a run of games together, hopefully finish in the sort of top 10. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but we've got to adjust our expectations.
Yeah, we should be aiming at least top 10. I mean, that's a bit. When you say adjust our expectations, that is for an Arsenal fan. It's ridiculous us saying that, for real.
No, it absolutely is. But the problem is that's kind of where the club is right now in terms of squad. You know.
Yeah.
Would you not say like I?
I agree. I'm just trying to think where are we realistically going to finish, and I actually think it might be 10th. But do you think that's a reach? Do you think that's? I think 10th is where I actually think we're going to finish the end of the season. And people saying 9th, I predict. People saying you ain't finishing top 10, no chance. Yeah, but 10th, James. That's another question. All right, let's go. Let me throw a question to you then. Where do you think we'll end up at the end of the season? Your position?
Nah, I can't answer that till the next 6 games. And I know that sounds crazy, but I need to know whether the Chelsea game really was a corner turn in the direction of because what I've learned one thing from this season. I've been unsure about Arteta. I've had doubts. I learned one thing from the season, which is the group is not good enough. The players aren't good enough. What has really hit home to me was that Aston Villa have a better starting 11 than us.
Yeah, that hurt. I know you'll think about that for ages.
Let's bring them up. So you go through them. Liverpool, these are the teams who have a better first 11 than us. Liverpool, yes. Leicester, yes. Everton, yes. Man United, yes. Villa?
Yep.
Yeah. Chelsea, yes. Tottenham, yes. City, yes. Southampton, I say not
questionable.
Yeah. West Ham, I'd say probably not really. Questionable. Wolves, I'd argue Wolves' 6 is better than ours.
Yeah.
Raul Jimenez, Pedro Neto, Daniel Podence, Adama Traore, João Moutinho, Ruben Neves, Leander Donker, I think all play in this current Arsenal team. Yeah.
We had this argument in the office. I can't not disagree with you there.
You saw my sly little message about Pedro Neto, didn't you?
Yeah, Robbie agrees with you though. He brought it up yesterday on his live with troops. He said that like he's better than Pepe. And do you know what? Boy, big questions.
He's a good player. No, I just wanted to mention that. I mean, it's crazy. I went into this season hopeful of top 4, thinking at least top 6. Now I'm going, no, do you know what? This team really belongs, top 10 at best. But what that sort of tells me is now let's give Arteta some players in January, keep developing the youngsters, stay afloat till the summer, and then maybe we can start to see the Arteta team we want. But, not as easy. Anyway, should we do our 11s?
Yeah, let's do our 11. So, should we intro it as well and explain to people?
Yeah, explain this little task we had.
All right, guys. So everyone watching in the comments, whatever, I need you guys to basically say we've picked our 11. We picked our 11. Now instead of doing what Robbie done, sorry, Don Robbie, to slate you here, but he picked his 11 and he said if it's not broken, don't fix it. He picked exactly the same 11 that played Chelsea. Now that we found that a cop out. Really, we found it too easy. It's true though. I'm sorry, Robbie. You might be watching. Don't find me. But we found it a cop out. Obviously, we all want the same team. But we said, let's set ourselves a challenge. Right, like James says, a big run of games coming up. It's December, going into January. We have to make 4 changes, right? So we have to make 4 changes. I want you guys to predict or guess what 4 changes we made. Starting with, just do me and James each. What 4 changes do you think we made? So we made changes to the original team that played against Chelsea. Have a guess what those 4 changes were.
We sort of forced this upon us because we thought Arteta realistically is going to make changes. Anyone who sees the 11 today and sees that it's different and then is disappointed, I would understand why, but I think you've got to be realistic and expect that with the run of games we've had, with the run of games we've got coming up, I'm not talking difficulty, I'm talking timing, the schedule. It's so demanding and you're always going to see managers switch up. So we've just tasked ourselves with doing the same. We couldn't field... We had to have a minimum of 4 changes in our 11. So what's Kumit the doctor saying?
He's saying same team but switching Hector for Ainsley. I can't remember my changes now. That's one of them. Yeah, that is one of them. Martinelli for Aubameyang and Saka for Pepe. Bring youth from the bench in the second half. I like that.
Good shout.
It's a good shout. Hold on. There's loads coming in. Damn, there's so many of you guys watching. Sorry, if you just bear with me here because this is crazy. I'm never really good at this. Okay, so Ainsley, Aubameyang, Ceballos, and Pepe. So I'm assuming these are the people they think we brought in. Bellerin. Oh, Bellerin, Mari, Martinelli,
And then
El Nelly out. So these are the players out. Yeah. Did I take all them out? Hold on. I think. Yeah, that's that. I think that's close to what. That's close to. I think that's all my changes. I'm honest. Right. Let me just quickly
that's
do
very
super chat.
similar.
I'd go the same
Wow.
11 with Sebastian El Neni. All right, cool. We're getting loads of them. I'm gonna pop up a few more.
Shall we reveal? Oh, here we go.
Oh, I like this one. I like this one. Kangaroo. I like this one. I don't think we've got Aubameyang in. All right, shall I put mine up then? And then
yeah, bring yours up and talk us through it.
Runnison in. I like this one. Eldonai. Sorry, right. Let me actually get serious. Let me go to my team. So these are the changes I made. Here we go. So, it's tight to see. So we got Leno in goal. Same formation, obviously, as against Chelsea. I put Maitland-Niles in for Bellerin. I'm sorry, Bellerin. I do love you. No. Use my words wisely. I love you for when we win. You planted 3,000 trees against Chelsea. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for bettering our environment. But for now, I have to just take you out and let Maitland-Niles start. I felt it was hard for him to be dropped in his last game, even though Bellerin. He did have a great game, but I just thought it was harsh for him to be dropped. I put Chambers in for Mari. You know what, right? This pains me a little bit because if I'm honest, I should have really put Chambers for holding, but I think Mari's not match fit yet. So I put Chambers in there. He needs more minutes, Mari, but not in this game. I think he should rest for the Brighton game and then, have come in another game. So I rested him, and then I put Ceballos in the midfield with Xhaka instead of El Neni. I put Ceballos in there. I actually wanted Partey, and for some reason that I did put Ceballos. I know Partey's not fit, but just in my head, and I don't know what it is, there's something saying Partey will be available today. It's probably not, but I'm just dreaming. I'm praying to the high heavens. Yeah, that was a change I made, and then obviously we got Saka. I got Emile Smith Rowe, and I put Pepe in instead of Martinelli. Same reasons really for Mari being taken out is for Martinelli. I feel Martinelli is a player that gets fouled quite often. He's a very tricky player. He plays with full intensity. So giving him a full 90 against Brighton, I actually think it's a risk today. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start as well, actually, or if he comes off after half time. That wouldn't surprise me. I do expect to see that today. So those are my changes. James is.
You know what? After seeing your team, I slightly prefer it to mine.
Are you joking? People are saying, why would we take Martinelli out? Now, that is, I just explained it. And that's literally the truth, guys.
I'd love to see him play. I'll be delighted if he starts, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't either. Here's my team. Let me bring it up.
Go on.
So, Leno stays. No Runnison call up for me at the moment. Cedric at right back.
Okay.
I've then given Holding a rest, actually, mainly because not so much the Holding needs a rest. He's actually been very good recently. I've put Chambers in next to Mari, simply because Chambers has got a bit of pace, but also Mari, I think he just came back. I think all things considered, with the injury, how long he's been out for, the fact he's even barely played for the club, I thought he actually did all right against Chelsea. I mean, I know the yellow card and he looked a bit dodgy with the foul and the penalty. And there were rusty moments, but I think he did well. And people got to remember he's a backup centre-back. So, yeah, happy. I was happy to keep him in with Chambers, Tierney at left-back. I then got for Maitland-Niles instead of El Neni as the defensive midfielder alongside Xhaka. I've then gone for Smith Rowe, keeping his position in the 10. Martinelli keeps his position out on the left. Lacazette leads the line, and out on the right is my fourth and final new change is Reece Nelson, who I thought would do quite well playing that sort of role where he's coming deep to get the ball, running at players, also getting in behind. So basically, I've changed the whole right-hand side. Nelson, Cedric, Chambers, Maitland-Niles all come in for Bellerin, Holding, El Neni, and Saka, who needs a rest because the guy's played so much football. So that's what you think, comment section. Man, we've got to leave in the next 30 seconds, minute. God, this has flown by. I've enjoyed this.
Oh my God, blimey, it's gone way too fast. Okay, let me put this back out. Oh, there you are. Hey, so guys, there is a watch along today. I know people keep asking questions. There is a watch along, guys. It will not be at the studio. It'll be conducted in this sort of format. We are all social distancing. Nelson's not fit. He hasn't travelled. Okay, thank you very much for letting us know that. We just thank you. Actually, I didn't know that either. I thought he's been missing. Nelson has just been off the radar. But on top of that as well, I did like my team. I liked your team as well. But I was lost the. Here come the last few comments before we leave. But yeah, no, I think they'll get us for dropping Martinelli. But honestly, guys, do not be angry if you don't see him start or if you see him come off early, because he is still coming back from injury at the end of the day. I guess he's fit, but he's still recovering. He's got to get match fitness, and it is very intense. You can clearly see that from Mari's performance against Chelsea, giving away the penalty late on in the game. You can see he was actually just tired, and that is down to fitness at the end of the day. So, on that note, up next, we have the starting 11. We'll be leaving you here today. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us in our pre-match build-up show. Again, guys, look, we are sorry we can't give you the full pre-match breakdown with the tactical pads, the looking back at the goals with the movement dots and all of that.
Everything. It's been fun. Yeah, this has been good.
It has been good. And guys, in the comments, thank you so much. It's been lovely, obviously, discussing and getting you guys' opinions. There might not be might not be a tie breakdown today. No Mope, you're a cheat. You might see it. You might see it in his fan cam, but let's hope we just get a win. James, what was the quiz? Alcott from Sweden. Right. Thank you very much.
See you later. I'm off.
Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. We are out. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's hope Arsenal get a win. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, boys.